So without a doubt, one of my favorite tips for the forehand is called 2-1-2. Let me show you. Hello, it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video, I'm going to help you if you're currently struggling with your forehand with one of my absolute all-time favorite tips. Now, I've got the Topspin Pro to help me out. You know what to do. Get my affiliate link in the description below and get one of these so you can practice at home. It's currently cold and windy and raining outside, but I get to work on my forehand because I got a Topspin Pro. So it would mean the absolute world to me and my family if you went into the description after this video and you picked up one of these using my affiliate link. All right, 2-1-2, that's the tip. 2-1-2. It's the number of hands that are going to be on the racket during your forehand, topspin forehand. So you're going to take the racket back with 2 hands. Then you're going to hit with 1, and then you're going to finish with 2. So 2, 1, 2. When you take the racket back with both hands, which the vast majority of pros do this, when you take the racket back with 2 hands, does 2 main things. It makes sure that you can use the circular swing, right? You're going to use a C swing, which is the way to get speed and be able to handle pace. It's the fastest way to get the racket to contact because the racket never has to slow down, never has to stop. It can actually gain and pick up speed rather than going down, stopping, and then coming forward. Believe it or not, a circle swing takes less time than straight back and straight forward because when you go straight back, the racket has to stop. So we want to keep the racket up, and having both hands on the racket helps that. But it also helps you to coil your body. So when you turn, taking the racket back with both hands allows you to kind of show your back shoulder to your opponent. One of the hallmarks of high-level pro tennis technique is when they take their racket back. If you were playing, let's say, Roger Federer, you could see Roger's back, the back of his front shoulder when he takes it back. That coiling and then uncoiling makes it so that it's just effortless power through the stroke. Now, obviously, you're going to hit the ball with one hand. So let me give you a tip that's really going to help you with the idea of hitting with one hand, right? It's 2, 1, and then 2, right? So let's talk about the 1. When the racket goes down, focus on 2 things with your forehand. First, focus on making sure that when the racket goes down, that the racket closes. Closes simply means that the strings tilt down. Now, whether you do a lag forehand and then you make that move, or you drop the racket more behind your hand like Del Potro, you need to close the racket face down in the back, because when you close the racket face in the back, it makes it very easy to have your racket square against the back of the ball at contact. Now, you can have your racket a few degrees tilted down at contact, but we got to get the racket closed to make sure that happens. And when your racket is closed in the back, it makes it so simple then to hit topspin. And when you've got the Topspin Pro, you can actually practice and see the ball spinning. So you get the idea of seeing and feeling the friction of the strings in the ball. Again, that's why I'm such a believer in the Topspin Pro. The second idea, when you are dropping your racket, we want the non-hitting hand to go forward, and it's almost like you're going to wave to your opponent. So if my opponent's over there, I turn with both hands, and then as my racket's dropping, I'm going to wave to my opponent. Now you'll see some players like Del Potro, his hand goes down and then it comes back up again, which is actually what I do. I have my hand go down and then my non-hitting hand comes back up again. You'll see players like Djokovic and his hand stays up the whole time. The goal is we want the non-hitting hand, as you're striking the ball, to be up almost like you're waving to your opponent. So take the racket back with 2 hands and then drop the racket down, closing the strings. Depending on your grip, your racket will close more or less, but we got to close no matter what grip you got. You want the strings tilted down. And then as you're dropping the racket and getting to contact to spin up the back of the ball, you want to be waving to your opponent. Now, the last idea, the 2 in the finish where you're going to catch the racket. I'm not sure why this brings controversy, because I think people are just so used to wanting to hit the ball like this, where the racket comes down or what, I don't know. And maybe it's people say things like, well, Ryan, I don't see the pros catching the racket. You're right. Look, if I go to the doctor and I've got a broken arm, right? The doctor, she's going to recommend that I get a cast on my broken arm. I can't say, hey, doc, my buddy, his arm's perfect and he doesn't have a cast. And she'd be like, yeah, because he doesn't have a broken arm. The idea is if you're struggling with your forehand, which is why you're watching this video, you want a remedy that is different than what you're doing. Right? You need a cast. You need something that's going to help fix it and help heal your forehand. Catching the racket is one of those ideas. because it really ensures that your non-hitting hand isn't hugging yourself or spinning back behind you, which really affects what your body is doing through contact. But it also makes sure that you swing up, right? Topspin is a low to high swing. We want to be going from below the ball to above the ball. We want this move. The more I swing up, the more that ball is going to spin down. So catching the racket high, like Serena, like Dominic Thiem when he's practicing forehands, like Nadal when he's finishing up above his head, getting you to swing up is a great way just to work on getting that ball to spin back down into the court. So I want you to watch these pros right now, and I want you to look. I'm kind of Frankenstein some of these players together, but I'm going to show you players turning with both hands on the racket. I'm going to show you players with their non-hitting hand up at contact, and you can see their racket face is closed. And then I want you to look at the players catching the racket nice and high with their non-hitting hand. So go right now into the description and get yourself a Topspin Pro and practice the 2-1-2 technique. And if you do, there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.